welcome to the November 10th, 2015 regular meeting of the Troy Planning Commission. Copies of the agenda for tonight's meeting are available at the entrance to the room. Additionally, the agenda and minutes of prior meetings are available on the city's website. The meeting will be conducted in accordance with the agenda as presented or amended by the Planning Commission. The rules and responsibilities of the Planning Commission are outlined on the reverse side of tonight's agenda. State law establishes planning commissions. The commission is comprised of 9 members, all of whom have volunteered to serve. Members are appointed by the mayor and confirmed by city council. The other individuals seated at the table this evening are representatives, we got to skip the consultant of the planning department, the city attorney's office, and if you wish to address the planning commission, please come forward when recognized and provide your name and address on the sign-in sheet. Please begin your remarks by stating your name for the benefit of the commissioners. All remarks are to be addressed to the Planning Commission and not to anyone else in the room. At this time, I ask that all cell phones, BlackBerries, PDAs, or any other devices that might disrupt the meeting, please either be placed in silent mode or be turned off. Ms. Zarnicki, the roll call, please.
Mr. Amphibian?
Here.
Ms. Cruz? Here. Mr. Edmonds?
Here.
Mr. Faison? Mr. Hudson?
Here.
Mr. Krant?
Here.
Ms. Koopa? Mr. Zanziga?
Here.
Mr. Tagle?
Here.
Quorum present. The item number 2 is the approval of agenda. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda as published? Mr. Grant?
I'll second.
Seconded by Ms. Cruz. Roll call, please.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Mr. Edmonds?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Mr. Krant?
Yes.
Mr. Zanziga?
Yes.
Mr. Tagle?
Yes.
Mr. Amphibian?
Number 3 is the minutes of the October 27th, 2015 meeting. Do we have a motion to approve? Mr. Apahidian, second. Mr. Tagle, thank you.
Mr. Edmonds?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Mr. Krant?
Yes.
Mr. Zanziga?
Yes.
Mr. Tagle?
Yes.
Mr. Amphibian?
Yes.
Ms. Cruz?
Yes.
Agenda item number 4 is public comment for items that are not on the agenda. Is there anyone in the audience who wants to speak to an item that is not on the agenda? Seeing no one, we'll move on to agenda item number 5, preliminary site plan review. File number SP1011, proposed SRB Medical Dental Building, east side of Crooks, south of Waddles, at 3960 Crooks, Section 21, currently zoned NN I, Neighborhood Node I District. Mr. Sabata.
That's me. So this item was last reviewed October 27th, 2 weeks ago. And the issues, we recommended postponement, and the Planning Commission did postpone it because of some issues. And those issues included stormwater location and size, lack of stormwater best management practices, lack of cross-access easement to the southern property, and some architectural suggestions. And since the last meeting, the applicant clearly listened, and they were able to make a number of changes to the site plan and get back to us in a timely fashion. The applicant has revised the proposed stormwater on the site by removing the one large pond and replacing with 2 bioswales. And by doing that, they were able to decrease the slope of the detention basin with the bioswales and eliminate the need for the fence around the pond. They provided cross-access to the southern property, although the way that Troy handles it, every community is different. But what Troy does is we want the cross-access to go all the way to the property line, construct it now, so that we're not chasing somebody to construct it in the future. So either get it in now, or you've got to provide an easement and then make this person construct it. Like, it becomes kind of messy. So what we prefer is to extend it all the way. What that does, though, is that what they're proposing now is landscaping here. When we extend it all the way, there's not going to be landscaping there. So that's kind of that's the trade-off. They've extended the 8-foot wide sidewalk along the entire length of Crooks. They've widened the approach off of Crooks based on our engineering comments. Provided a bicycle rack along Crooks. They broke up the parking lot with more landscaping. provided a more creative landscape plan between the building and Crooks. They actually verified that they won't be using an outdoor trash storage container, and they provided a parking lot screen wall detail, and the brick pattern is going to match the building. So they clearly listened. Mr. Tagle made some suggestions regarding architecture that were not followed through with by the applicant. I believe Mr. Tagle suggested canopies as an example, that were not, the elevations did not change. They were a suggestion I quite frankly agreed with, but they're not required. The applicant can certainly address that, but with that being said, the planning department recommends approval of the site plan as submitted, provided the applicant extend the stub all the way to the southern property line. We can discuss if you'd like.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr.
Chairman?
Mr.
I have one.
Hudson?
Brett, I can't tell because we didn't put it in our package. The neighborhood node, how far south does that extend? Does that extend to that adjacent lot where we're asking that a stub be presented to it?
Yes, that's the neighborhood node right here.
Okay, so that's available for the development also?
Yes.
Okay.
And the existing 7-Eleven, piggybacking on what you just asked, has their stub right up to the fence.
That's correct.
It's already there.
That's correct.
So I think it's a fair request.
We had to do the same thing with that petitioner. They initially proposed that we had to extend it.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Sabato? If not, is the petitioner here? And would you please, I'm assuming you've already signed in?
I've already signed in.
Thank you.
Dave Hunter from Professional Engineering Associates. I'm here with Terry Nosen from Nosen Ventures. And we're here to answer any questions you may have. We tried to listen to all the suggestions that were made at the last planning commission meeting and tried to address as much as we possibly could. And we'll work with the planning department on their request for the extension farther to the south.
Any questions for the applicant? Mr. Tangle, did you want to?
Yes, I have to ask the obvious one.
Yes.
Terry gets to do that.
Terry Nosen.
Yeah, hi. Just curious as to your thoughts as to why some more enhancements on the elevation weren't considered viable.
Well, is that better? Obviously, one can do most anything.
Yeah, we've seen that.
Ownership prefers this building, this clean, contemporary look with a limestone and brick, not a stick-on brick, but a building stone type material. And ultimately, this may go through some permutations, and I think if there's this west-facing wall, may result in some enhancements to the landscaping plan at some point to put some deciduous trees in there, to provide a little screening. We've got a low west sun, but they really didn't feel that the canopies provide much of an enhancement, other than possibly over the entrance. But over here, we felt they would look kind of out of place. Made it look like a retail, not an office.
They may think differently in the winter sun.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, and the neighboring, piggybacking on Mr. Tagle's comment, the neighboring building has awnings, 7-Eleven. So I think it would be in keeping if you would strongly consider that.
We
Mr.
can
Grant,
certainly work with staff on some alternatives.
that suggestion was presented to the owners,
Yes.
and their response was no.
Right.
Okay, thank
They
you.
just preferred not to, they felt clutter in the building, but I think over these larger entry doors, something could be done to make it more, give it more presence.
Mhm.
And I think that could twist their arm to do that.
Mr. Kress.
Those type of a steel canopy type of a thing.
There's a good example on Big Beaver, on a south-facing wall on Big Beaver between Crooks and Coolidge. you'll see what another building has done to do that. They actually did multi-stories because of the south wall of their building. And it was a very good architectural solution. They did it almost like semi-sculpture with tubes and louvers. Quite elegant.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We'll bring it back to the resolution for further discussion or resolution.
I'll make the resolution, if there's no other discussion. Resolve that preliminary site plan approval pursuant to Article 8 of the zoning ordinance as requested for the proposed SRB medical building located on the east side of Crooks and south of Waddles, 3960 Crooks, Section 21, within the NN Neighborhood Node I district be granted subject to the following. 1, stub the drive aisle to the southern property line.
Support, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah. Moved by Mr. Kretz, supported by Mr. Sanzica. Discussion on the motion? If not, roll call, please.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Mr. Krant?
Yes.
Mr. Zanzika?
Yes.
Mr. Tagle?
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Cruz? Yes. Mr. Edmonds?
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We will look at those buildings.
Item number 6 is the proposed zoning ordinance text amendment, file number ZOTA 248, woodland protection. Mr. Sal.
Yes. I had planned to do a brief summary of the woodland protection ordinance, because we have a new planning commission member who wasn't involved in all the discussion up to today. However, that member's not here. So what I propose we do is we save that to the public hearing, so that we're not going through the exercise twice.
Anybody have any objections to that?
No,
Okay.
And then if there's audience members here for the public hearing, just to update you, we came up with a draft, we reviewed it, the planning commission supported it, and then we let the legal department do a thorough review of the document, which they have. There was only very, very minor changes made. That was some simple wordsmithing and removing a couple trees from the landmark list because they were prohibited trees in chapter 28, which is our tree ordinance for trees on public property. So we thought it would work that best.
They were removed?
They were removed. I think there was 2 trees,
Two varieties.
2 varieties of the 60 trees on the list.
I guess that begs the question, why, how do we, was this still in accordance with the Arborland?
Yes.
That's there, those 2 trees are not on the Arborlands list.
The two trees were prohibited in chapter 28, so we had, and I'll talk about chapter 28 in a second.
Okay.
It's up here. Maybe that'll help explain where we are. So we've got at least 4 different ordinances or standards in the city that regulate trees in some fashion. And what we want to do is make them consistent with each other, because right now they're not. What's really interesting is we've got a document called the Landscape Design and Tree Preservation Standards, which have been on the books since I've been here. They've been on the books probably for 25 years at least. And the title of the document is misleading. It's tree preservation. It doesn't require preservation of trees. It requires identification of trees within 4 to 10 inches DBH. And once you identify them, you can remove them all. You can clear cut it. So to call it tree preservation, I think is not accurate. It's a yes. So it's very effective. So what we're proposing to do is get rid of it, rescind it. But when we adopt the new woodland protection provisions, it's gonna accomplish all that we want to accomplish and provide flexibility, and it's kind of a win-win. So those standards are no longer relevant. So we propose to rescind that document. It's mentioned twice in our site plan review section of the ordinance, so that has to be changed. We've also got chapter 41, which is a subdivision control ordinance. Now, we don't see a lot of subdivisions anymore. We probably haven't had one for 7 or 8 years, but still, we theoretically could get a subdivision application. The reason we don't get subdivisions is site condos are faster, so. But that refers to the landscape design and tree preservation standards in numerous places. So that needs to be changed. Then we have chapter 28 tree regulations, which regulates planting of trees on all city property, including in parks and in rights of way. And that's gotta be updated. And we wanna do this all at the same time. So that when this is done, it doesn't set in motion a whole bunch of inconsistencies. So what I plan to do is, when we come back for the public hearing for the planning commission, that's the planning commission has the authority, and is actually required by law to have a public hearing on the zoning ordinance changes, which we will. But I will also want to provide the other drafts to you as a courtesy, so that you can see what we're talking about. So the night we have the public hearing, we're not only going to see this document, the changes proposed, but we're going to see these other ones. So I'm not trying to confuse you, but this is what we have to kind of take care of before the public hearing that's coming up soon. Okay, so I'm just giving everyone a kind of a warning about that. So
It's gonna be a thick packet.
it'll be a thick packet, but this table was attempted just to kind of summarize what's involved. And there's a lot of moving pieces. At the end of the day, it really isn't that complicated. It's just kind of getting under control and taking care of it. So
Yeah.
once it's done, we'll kind of be whole.
And if you're having a public hearing, it's important to divulge everything that's going to happen.
Exactly.
To all the existing documents too.
And although the planning commission, there's no actual formal action required for those, as a courtesy, we want you to be fully informed. Okay?
Anything else?
And what I'm looking for is the nod from the planning commission to schedule a public hearing for the woodland protection ordinance.
Is everyone ready to nod?
Yeah. Everyone's nodding. Okay, thank you.
I just have one question.
Yes.
How long is this gonna take to get through? How long will it be before this ordinance will be effective? Once we have a public hearing
Mm-hmm.
and say that goes well, and we recommend there's no tweaks to it,
Mm-hmm.
it goes to city council,
Yes?
and then they schedule a public hearing. When could we see this ordinance enacted?
In a best case scenario
That's relevant.
for process, we hold a public hearing at an upcoming meeting, make a recommendation. We get on the next available city council meeting to be announced. And then the next meeting after that, if there's a public hearing, and if they take action in that public hearing, it's effective in 10 days after the public hearing, provided the city council approves it.
So could this be on our next meeting?
Next meeting, no, because of public hearing requirements, we need more time. It could be on in a month.
So that's gonna be in December sometime.
That's correct.
So the earliest we could probably see this thing enacted, and I'm asking this because I know some things that are going on, that we would like to have this ordinance in effect. I'm not saying we should rush it, but we need to not let it dwindle
Mhm.
longer than it needs to be. And I think just because we have another item on an agenda for a planning commission meeting, doesn't mean this shouldn't be on.
Mhm.
So,
I don't disagree.
okay, very good, thank you. Okay. I guess we're ready for number 7, public comment. That's for items that are on the current agenda. And I'm assuming we have no one in the audience who wants to comment on that. Next is planning commission comment. Let's begin with you tonight, Mr. Correct.
I have no comment.
Mr. Daigle.
Nothing for me.
Ms. Cruz.
I know, everyone's gonna be really disappointed if I don't have something to say, right? But
Fine, Karen. Fine.
honestly, no, I'm actually all good tonight, but thank you.
I
I've got no comment.
Mr. Senzica?
I just want to commend the planning commission on bringing up the bioswales and those issues on that medical building, because it was an obvious thing that they neglected to consider, and I'm sort of upset that I wasn't here to make that comment, but I'm glad that the committee did so, and that was very, very good. We're thinking to see that we're all thinking on the same page, and,
We carried your torch.
well, good.
Thank you.
There are a lot of changes in the state. I mean, the state's going on permitting for more infiltration standards, more retention on site. So we have a whole new series of MS4 permit requirements that a lot of the communities will be seeing in the near future. So I think we're going in the right direction. Yeah, I was just curious, have you had any comments from developers? I know, I was like, Mr. Evans has heard something about the tree ordinance. Do you think it'll go through the city council without any problems?
I'm looking forward to hearing what Mr. Evans, what information he has, because I haven't really heard anything. I haven't.
Well, we've had several development options that are coming before us, and some that have not been approved yet.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, will they be impacted by that or not? It might make a difference in what they do, or what they propose.
But in terms of comments behind the scenes or from developers, or they're aware of it. I think once they have an opportunity to read and understand what's proposed, that it's really it's not as heavy-handed as a lot of communities' ordinance. It's been pretty well received.
Yes. And I think the media has picked up on these, at least a couple of newspapers have published very accurate and fair reports on it.
I just want to make one additional comment. I was sort of interested in our joint meeting the other night about the bike paths and how that worked out. The issue about going through neighborhoods and is very critical. I think a lot of people are very concerned about that, and I do feel that I was really appreciative of the mayor's comments, because I think he was right on as far as we're going on the main thoroughfares and trying to stay out of the subdivisions and connecting the parks and so forth. So I was very pleased to hear his comments, and I think the staff, I'm sure, will be taking this direction. So
Yes.
very pleased to hear how it turned out.
I have no further comment. Mr. Savio.
I just want to invite everyone to the Planning Department Open House, Thursday between 9 and 11. What that is, every department has had an open house. It's just a way of kind of explaining to other departments and to board members what we do, and we'll serve refreshments, I think cider and donuts and coffee. And if you have time and you're looking for something to do don't hang around. Don't hang around. It's 2 hours for a reason. Come in, get your donut, have your coffee, don't have a refill,
And move on.
keep moving. I'm obviously joking,
Okay.
but we'd love to have you stop by, say hi.
It would be good if you just put that in an email. to
Yeah, we're gonna-
all the planning
yeah, we will.
commissioners, because we've got a couple missing tonight.
That is 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
On Thursday, the 12th,
Right, not 9 p.m.
9 a.m.
Just want to make sure.
Good catch, good
Well,
catch.
Brad's still here, yes.
Yeah.
Do you have a quiz?
There will be a quiz. There will be a quiz. There'll be a couple of skill testing things that we're doing. And
Mr. Bossy, did you have anything?
No, just was curious if there's a quiz. That's it, thanks.
Okay, if there's nothing further, I think we are adjourned.
okay.